All the parts are here for the Caipirinha II. We'll continue on with the build here. The elevons, you're supposed to put them on with blend derm tape, but I'm going to use these little they're pinned hinges. I've got a slot cut in the elevon here. This is what I'm going to use. And then I'm going to put the blend derm over the top. But I've just got a little slot in the elevon there. I'm going to stick those in with a little CA and do that. I haven't cut the slot in the actual Caipirinha yet. That's the way those are going to go on. The camera came yesterday for the flight camera for over here. And the video transmitter came, etc., etc. Most of them need a little lengthening of the wires. So things have kind of gotten backed up on my solder station here. I've still got the Dragon Link receiver to do. Just my 4th Dragon Link receiver. Like I say, I have this big long wire for the telemetry. I'm just going to put all of it on. There's 5 wires that need to be soldered there. I'm just going to put all of it on while I'm playing around on the bench with this stuff until I figure out where this goes. That likely will go in that Sky Hunter. There's my DuPont connector for those 5 pins. I was going to change the wires on the ESC for the Caipirinha here, but I think I'm going to put bullet connectors on the end of them and then put little bullet connectors on the end of the wires coming out the flight controller, and I'll show you why on that. It's just the length of these wires and getting this in the area where it's supposed to be. There's my wiring diagram for my Dragon Link to a Latec flight controller. And then here's the video transmitter for the Caipirinha. I put little standoffs on it. I'm going to do my same old. I'm going to put it in the wing and try to get it sort of out in the wing, on the bottom of the wing. Bummer is I have to add about as much wire to this one as is already there to get it over to the flight controller. Same with the GPS. It's over here because I need to extend its 6 wires to get over to the flight controller. Same thing with the flight camera. Its wires are really short, but believe it or not, they just came up like a 1/4 inch short or 1/2 inch short. But what I'm going to do, just a second, got to turn off that damn dehumidifier again. Sorry about that. So these wires came up like a 1/2 inch too short. But rather than having splice in it here and then the shrink wrap out near where it goes in the equipment bay, I'm going to cut it back here and put the shrink wrap in this area. That way this will be hidden in the tunnel between where this camera goes and the flight controller, and extend these wires out another. God, I only need another inch on them. I wish they were longer, but they're not. I'll look around and see if I have a 6-pin connector like that with longer wires. But that's the first thing that needs to be done, is some soldering done on these 3 components so we can get them into the Caipirinha II. Well, this thing's ungainly to work with, but let me see if I can show you a little bit where I'm at. I've brought the Airspeed sensor over from the equipment bay. That's this cable right here, and it plugs into the flight controller. I'm doing the cables that don't have to be soldered and stuff first. And believe it or not, I decided to bring that airspeed sensor over to the same equipment bay as the video transmitter. And I'm actually going to cheat. I've cut out a hole, and I'm going to hide the airspeed sensor itself down underneath the video transmitter. That's why I sort of carved out a little hole for it there. And I'm just going to put it on double-sided tape and see if that'll work. I'm going to bring these up and to that PDOT tube right where it's at, and just leave this as it is. So towards that goal, I also took my video transmitter and I put some, it's like correction fluid, but it's really not. It's a marking pen. It's a laundry marking pen is what it is, but it's liquid. When it comes out of these tubes, it's a liquid, white liquid like correction fluid. I use it elsewhere. Sometimes I'll tell you that story too. And what I did is I put some of it while it was on liquid on those 4 legs. Those are standoffs. You've seen me mount my video transmitters in the wing with these standoffs down in the wing, but leaving an air gap so that this is basically out in the wind. I think I'm going to take it down flush. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't made that full decision yet. But it's going to go down where it doesn't quite touch that airspeed sensor underneath it. So the liquid white, I just took it while this was out, touched it in the corner there where I wanted that to be eventually, and that gave me my little 4 places in there. Oops, you can't see the back ones. The one on the back right isn't well marked. This one isn't well marked, but the other 3 are. And so those are going to be the 4 holes to mount the video transmitter in, and it's going to set just above the airspeed sensor itself, and the tubing is going to come out the front, and I'm going to cheat with the PDOT tube too. Big time. I am going to just, what I've done here is I just took the PDOT tube and cut me a little slot. It actually is straight, honest. Cut me a little slot right there, and I'm just going to hot glue or otherwise glue this right flush with the bottom of that wing with this tab right here. And the tubes will come out. This will be sticking down by as much as it sticks down right now. But that's my plans. I hope it'll work like that. I see I can sink that video transmitter down. Oh, what is that? That's over 1/4 of an inch. Just so the heat sink on top right here is blowing in the breeze is what I really am looking for. So let's get started on all that and see what happens.
I hope the two don't interfere with each other, one with the other or anything like that. Unknown at this point. So there's the airspeed sensor itself. Double-sided tape down. And I'll probably put a dot of hot glue right here and one up here when I get my video transmitter in there, because I've still got the wires for the video transmitter to run through that hole. Then I'll be finished on this side, except for my video transmitter antenna. Those, along with hooking up these, I'll just set this aside until last, and then cut these tubes at that time too. And these flopping around while I'm doing the rest of it ain't going to hurt a thing. They're not even going to get in as much away as these control rods for the elevons are on the servos. They come pre-mounted. And when you pick it up, when you pick it up to turn it over, as you can see, they flop down, get in the way, and you have to be careful with them when you turn it over. So you like bring it up to the edge of the table, lay it down, and then so that the rods are back. Just kind of a hassle to work with it with all that stuff on there. If I had it to do over, I would do many things a little different, I guess. It'd be many more by the time I get through the end of this build, but one of the biggest things is there is a nice channel right through here. See, I can even get my big old finger through it. There's a nice, really nice channel right there. And there's another one right over here. The same. I got my finger inside this equipment bay now. But I don't want to take wires and stuff through here. With the battery. It's the battery compartment. I don't want the battery sitting on top of it. I don't want to have to try to put the battery under those wires. So when I build another one of these, see, there's those control rods popped up again to get in the way. Now that I've got this glued together, and you see I've glued the bottom two pieces right here, this foam right here, these two portions right here, I would have liked to run wires from this equipment bay to this equipment bay underneath this black foam, even if I had to cut out a little channel right here or a tunnel or whatever, and go straight between these two equipment bays. It would have been much nicer just to go straight across for the GPS in this equipment bay. So little things like that I'll do different on another build. Oh, look, I found a great way to keep those control arms from getting in my way when I'm playing with this, working with this. Look, it's called Scotch tape. Now they're not moving. I can pick it up, turn it upside down, and they don't fall out and get in the way. Boy, sometimes it's the simple things that give joy in life. Well, I think that's going to do it. Might need to adjust it just a little bit still. But let me see if I can turn on this light a second. So you can see down in there that there's still a little gap between the airspeed sensor and the bottom of the video transmitter. But other than that, I'll turn off that light now. It's down where the board is sort of even with the bottom of the wing. There's more sticking out in the air than I would like. I'm sitting here trying to decide if I want to take it down. I think I am going to try to take it down just a tad more. Yeah, I think that's best. Well, it is down in there further now, but it is actually touching the airspeed sensor. Not real thrilled with that, just from a standpoint of heat transfer. So I think when I glue it in, I am going to just raise it up ever so slightly. I think it's going to still be, the black heat sink's going to be out in the airflow, which is what I want. I really wouldn't mind it all being out there, but I don't want it that high. Did you notice how I was shying away from the solder station? And there's no getting around it now. I need to solder up this wire, these 4 wires for the video transmitter, ground voltage, video, and smart audio. And I'm going to add quite a bit of wire actually to them and cut it off later. And this is solid conductor wire. Luckily, it's all in the same color coding. Even my 6 on my, whoops, I'm not going to be using this wire. Sorry. I'm going to be using this wire. I'm not sure if the colors are going to match inside that. But the red, black, and yellow on the camera is ready. And red, black, green, and yellow on the video transmitter matches exactly the color of the wires on the video transmitter. So we're heating up over here now. Just go ahead and get it done, huh? Well, there's one of them, the cable for the video transmitter. I even had the right color shrink wrap for those 4. I was surprised. And then I just put some red around the outside to hold that together to try to get it through those tunnels and stuff. There it is, ground voltage, yellow is video, and green is smart audio. Just going to tape those 4 wires together at the end with some masking tape, and we're going to head for this tunnel right here. And to tell you the truth, I'm going to have to do this off camera. I need both hands. And there we are. The area of the wiring that is got the shrink wrap on it. I can pull into that tunnel where it doesn't show. That's what I was after. I need to secure those airspeed sensor wires down. A little hot glue in there. Well, there's the video transmitter glued in, and the wires run. Some of that shrink wrap does show here. Such be life. And I don't quite like the way the wires are pinched right in there, but I think they're all still all right. Yeah, that could have been better right there. I didn't realize it was pinching that much till I put it in. Oh well, there's going to be my first failure point, I bet. But there it is, and it ended up being just the board being at the level of the bottom of the wing. And I'm going to have to put the cut just a little bit there for the antenna connector, and I'll put that antenna on last, of course. And then on the other side, I have plenty of wire. Those 4 right there will just stay just exactly like they are until they're ready to be cut and sorted in place. Plenty of excess there. So And of course, this is the right elevon here. That is just waiting to be cut and soldered onto the flight controller. This is the left elevon, same old. This, of course, is the Airspeed sensor coming over. It'll plug in right here into the side of the flight controller. This is the wiring from the RC receiver. That'll have to be stripped out, stripped back, and soldered in the correct place. It'll be up in that area when it finally gets in. And got 3 wires coming back from the camera. Guess I'll do that next. And then we have the shielded twisted pair cable over there for the last connection, which will be over to the GPS running through here too. Let's do the camera. So there's the camera, flight camera, hot glued in, and the wire coming back to where the flight controller is going to be, with extra length on it right now. Next, GPS. 6 more solder joints, and today will be done. There's the GPS glued in with the cable on it. That's a little loose in that. See what I mean? It's a little loose in that 3D printed holder. I may do something about that. I'm not sure. That's not got an accelerometer or anything in it, but I'll probably put some hot glue right down through here just to make that fast. And then of course the cable comes over and goes into the bay where the flight controller is, and now we've got all these wires hanging out here, and they have to be attached to the flight controller. But first, the flight controller is going to have to get some power functions across the bottom BEC board right here. Still sort of figuring how to do that. I think I'm going to solder on the leads for the ESC, bring them through the hole here, and like I say, put some barrel connectors on them and just connect up the ESC right here in this compartment, and put some shrink wrap over the barrel connectors, and that's it. Now then, the power is a whole different story. I don't know if I want to hook to the flight controller down there, come out the hole into here, or do I want to go up into here? I haven't quite figured that one out yet, because this hole here is really good for putting things through. And then of course there's 3 wires that have to be soldered between the BEC board and the main controller board. So basically, except for putting in some antennas, putting the airspeed sensor on, guess I shouldn't let that lay like that if it's on. I'm sort of done with this equipment bay right here, except for some, like I say, hot glue to secure that and maybe secure this up. I doubt that's going to be needed. That equipment bay can almost get the hatch put on it. Done. Be a while before this hatch goes on. So that's where the flight controller goes. And on the underside today, we did the airspeed sensor and the video transmitter. And see, the Nano RX, Doesn't even need to be hot glued in. It just kind of slides up in a little cubby hole there and is fine. One of the last things I'll do is put this antenna through the fuselage. But so far, so good. I've got some XT60 connectors coming because I don't have any that don't have pigtails on them like this. And I'm not sure if I'm just going to put the 2 battery wires on the flight controller, run them out over here, and then solder on an XT60. Those connectors should be here tomorrow or the next day. So I'm going to call that day 2 finished. That's enough for a day, isn't it? I can't thank you guys enough for everything you do for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you.